I'm super excited to be hosting this panel with Kim and Derek. We are talking about unlocking business agility and ROI with cloud. So we've got Kim Prado, who's the CIO of BMO Capital Markets, and Derek Cramton, who's a principal enterprise sales at AWS. I am Chuck Doerr. I am OpenFin's CIO. We're going to start off with some quick intros. Kim, why don't you tell people a little bit about yourself and your remit?
Sure. Kim Prado. I'm responsible for delivering technology solutions across all business lines. And we're really razor focused on the client experience and our data, and really look forward to this conversation, Chuck.
Awesome. Derek?
Yeah, I'm Derek Cramton. I'm responsible for the relationship between Bank of Montreal and AWS. And our job is to help BMO succeed with cloud. And we get to work with wonderful people like Kim who are pushing the boundaries of what can be done. So trying to make that work.
So those of you who were at FinJS in Toronto in the fall about 6 months ago would have seen us talk about this a little bit then. We've been doing nothing but making progress since then. Kim, we're going to start with you. Can you talk about what prompted BMO Capital Markets to, start a push towards the cloud, other than your tenacity, of course?
Other than not wanting to deal with the infrastructure, you mean? No, I'm just kidding. So it really boils down to, for anything net new we're doing on all cloud solutions, right? And it's just faster, it's cheaper, it's easier. It's just gives our team an ability to innovate and move forward and really help us get our data organized. And so that's really where we started. It was all about just getting the data right and being able to access the data where it lives today through the mesh concept, which is like a major game changer, not having to go and beg people to send their information across. And so with that, we've been able to make lots of progress pretty quickly without a lot of overhead. And it's been a really, really interesting journey, to say the least.
Awesome. Derek, can you share some of the insights around your collaborative process with Kim and her team about kind of helping them on that journey?
Absolutely, Chuck. I mean, to some extent, it's kind of the basics. The first thing is to listen. So one of the things that we take pride in is really putting a lot of effort into understanding our customers. So understanding Kim's business, what they're trying to accomplish, and then work backwards from what they're trying to do and enable that. And don't go in with preconceived notions about what the solution is going to be. And also don't go in assuming that cloud or AWS is going to be the answer. There's wonderful partners. There might be even competitors that might have solutions that are better than ours. So the key thing is always be working backwards from what Kim and her team are trying to do, understand that, and then bring the best solution for them without really worrying about what it is that you're trying to accomplish.
That's awesome. Now, Kim, OpenFin didn't have backends. We didn't have a cloud. How'd you deal with that?
You had nothing.
We had nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing in the cloud.
So one of the things that we realized is that we can't build it all ourselves, right? We need partners. We need to integrate. We need to build. We need to buy. We need to integrate. We need to use open source, right? All four components to drive our tech strategy. And one of the things that's really, really important is that the tools that we build for our internal users are the same tools that we give to customers. And it's really keeping that tool set the same. And with that, having an open architecture where we can have proper role-based entitlements on the cloud, have all our components on the cloud is really important. And so one of the things we did is we moved away from building our own OpenFin integration launcher and moved to the OpenFin desktop. And with that, we worked with the OpenFin folks and the AWS folks to build a back end to enable us to have role-based entitlements and several other features that have enabled us to go much faster and more, it's more efficient, but most importantly, it's more cost effective as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, our collaboration has been incredible for us. I mean, really, really transformative. A lot of the cool stuff that's coming out of this is, we've got a notifications backend, a notification service. We have a configuration service. A content directory. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff that you can just really, show up on day one, and your time to value is incredibly short now. So, in your relationship with BMO, are there specific things that you had to do with BMO to kind of make it all work for them? Or or is it really more of a AWS out of the box?
No, it's absolutely custom, and it's definitely not easy. And it's not because it's BMO's fault.
Anywhere else?
No, but any large organization, there's going to be a whole bunch of processes that are already in place. There's a lot of restrictions on what you can do from a regulatory perspective and a compliance perspective. And so the big thing is getting the organization to understand what the future could look like, and then understanding that the way you do things in the cloud may be quite a bit different than the way you used to do them on premises. And so typically people will want to replicate what they've done on premises in the cloud. And sometimes that's okay, but a lot of times that it's not. And so then you're asking people to do something which is very, very uncomfortable, especially senior people that have had success doing things a certain way. And so we spend a lot of time trying to find safe ways to get to a future state, which is a lot more effective than the current state. And I think people have done a really, really good job of that. I think someone like Kim, who's really forward thinking, makes it a lot easier, but there's not every executive has that kind of experience and energy. So it's always going to be a challenge.
And Chuck, just to add to that, right? So one of the things that's really unique about this relationship is that AWS has an amazing architect that we work with, and you guys are amazing to work with from an architecture perspective. And so bringing that together with the capabilities that we needed was really the key to getting something over the line and fast. So.
Yeah, and honestly, as a longstanding AWS customer, we've found it incredible through the partner program, to go through architectural reviews and really push around the edges of our cloud presence, to get it up to snuff for a firm like BMO Capital Markets to really, get on there and have a high level of trust and a high level of understanding about how their data is going to be handled, where it's going to be, all the controls around that. So. We've definitely felt that support, and again, as a triangle of success here, right? It really is all of us working together, creating some real innovation. So like, what kind of results have you gotten, Kim?
Well, it's going well. I mean, it's been really seamless pushing out the software and getting people just to use it, and really. The comments that we get are like, oh, this thing showed up on my desktop and it's really easy to use. So this is good. And then we get, the typical feedback, which is, why can't this button be to the right instead of the left, right? You always have the peanut gallery. But in the end, it's been very responsive, and it's working, and they want more of it. So we're proceeding with adding more features and functions and applications into the environment.
I love the more of it concept, right? Because it's, this continuous delivery, building on our successes, doubling down, and really pushing forward. Now that we've gotten everything into the cloud, or maybe not everything, but we've got a lot of important stuff into the cloud.
Yeah.
Some things in the cloud.
Some things in the cloud, right? We got a lot of data in the cloud. We got our UIs in the cloud. Derek, are there things that you and your team are excited about helping BMO with from a sort of future state standpoint? I know AWS has put a lot of time and energy into their AI strategy. Are there things that you're working on there where you're setting up some roadmap for people?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to think of something that's more sort of ground changing than generative AI. You look at even Jamie Dimon talks about it as being bigger than the printing press sort of thing. And so we're really, really excited about what's going to happen in that space. One of the things that we think this is really important is people have choice. So if you look at the foundational models that you use, you really need to understand which foundational models are appropriate for what you're trying to accomplish. So the way we've designed our generative AI approach is to give you the greatest amount of flexibility possible to choose the model that makes most sense for what it is you're trying to do. Because you're going to want a model that maybe is more math-oriented or more language-oriented. You might want something you want to have a lot of understanding of how it was trained, what data that was used for protection, and so on. So we think providing that choice is really, really important. You can unlock some of the things that generative AI can do. And I could walk through the use cases, but you all probably know them already anyway. So we're excited about making that available, but also making them available at a low cost. Because a lot of the generative AI implementations that are in place today are a little bit, they're newer, they're more sandboxy, they're more proofs of concept. When people start using them at scale, the cost of them is going to be a little bit perhaps disappointing. So being able to optimize which models you use, which processors you use is something we put a lot of effort into. We're looking forward to helping all of our customers, including BMO, on things like that.
You know, I'm super excited that I can just hit Bedrock, right? Grab Llama, right? Maybe I don't need a gajillion parameters. Maybe I just need a 7 billion param model, and I can get a lot of stuff done. I can identify data fields. I can create context on the desktop using some AI. And, if I want to try, one of the other models out, it's easy. I can just plug it right in.
Yeah, that's critical, right? And it's the more easy you allow people to experiment, to make mistakes, fail, try again, that enables you to get better more quickly and build on that rather than spending a lot of time planning what you're going to do and then maybe not getting it right the first time.
It's awesome. Kim, I'm going to put you on the spot. You told me some info before we got going, talking about some cool new stuff that you're doing around AI for supporting your employees. Can you talk a little bit about that tool? Can I?
Yeah. No, I mean, one of the main things that, it's not really AI. I wouldn't really classify this as AI, but really smart intelligence is just knowing, who covers what client, right? It's the age-old problem where the data is always stale, old, and everybody goes around and, doesn't trust it. And one of the things we've been able to do is use all the unstructured data to actually automatically generate coverage and contacts and all of that just out of the exhaust that's collected every day by doing day-to-day business. And, that's really powerful, especially when you're trying to achieve your concept of one client across a bank. So to be able to see who covers who across multiple lines of business is by far one of the most interesting things that we've been able to do with with our data in the mesh and the data that we access through the mesh and the UI and the whole client experience component. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was impressed with the sort of the immediate progress, right, that you've really been able to sort of layer on. We once we got the foundation done, it was like update after update, and it's been really awesome to see that moving along. And I know you tried to couch it as not being AI, but we all know machine learning and AI have been around for a long time. Yeah. We all do this stuff. But I think, hitting on a point here, it's, because you have all of your stuff in a nice modern architecture, not all of it, but, you have important information in a nice modern architecture, you've got places where you can plug in innovation now, right? You've got a foundation on which to build your innovation.
That's it. And the key is being able to ingest a data set immediately is really, really big. I mean, if I look back in time, it would take 3 months to argue with procurement to get access to the data, then another 3 months to get the data, in a position where we could even think about ingesting it, and then eventually it would hit the UI. And now we're able to do this in a matter of weeks, which is huge. And that saves time, it saves money, and it gives the business confidence.
And then you get more rope to play with.
And that's it.
Yeah. So Derek, we're just about up on time here. Are there any sort of parting thoughts you want to leave around working with big banks on this sort of migration process? Are there things that you want to sort of put out there from an AWS perspective? I mean, you already talked about don't try to rebuild it, right? Which I think is we pull things together and integrate hard. That's a good one for us for sure.
I mean, a couple of things, like I said, spending the time. These organizations are so complicated that spending the time to really understand the nuances, the technical limitations, the procedural limitations, the political limitations. I think it's worth understanding that as an outsider so that you can give good advice. It also enables you, I think, to gain some trust, because trust doesn't mean doing the right thing. Most people want to do the right thing. It's trusting that the customer believes that you understand them well enough that what you say makes sense. So I think that's been something that we've worked at.
Awesome. I'm going to throw out there just a one-liner. Like from an OpenFin perspective, I can't think of a better environment, and of course I'm talking my own book, but I can't think of a better environment to pull together a human-in-the-loop AI workflow, where you can rapidly get, the data that someone needs in front of them, again, AI-powered, give them some decision support-making tools, right? And they can assimilate, make high-quality decisions quickly. Like, our environment is meant for bringing that stuff together. And again, supporting our users who are, as AI is taking care of the lower hanging fruit on the front end, like the problem sets that humans are dealing with is getting more complex. And so being more efficient about that means that you can deliver even more value and savings. Kim, can you close us out?
I can do that. I would just say that as you come up with like neat ways to surface signals to your users and really come up with these insights, it's really important how you surface that information. And one of the things we've been able to use is the alerting and the notification center.
Yeah.
And I would say from past experience, it took like 4 years of me begging developers to build that, and it still wasn't right. And then these guys built it, and it's really good. So if you tie together your data strategy with what your analytics strategy is, with where your users are sitting, and really surface that information and get away from being reactive and be proactive with your information, I think we have a fighting chance of competing.
That's awesome. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Derek. This is great.